Hey, I'm Haley.
And I'm Jesse.
And you're listening to
Personality Hire, the podcast where if you cut us both open right now, we'd be neon yellow. We'd be absolutely nothing but yellow. I can't imagine that anyone would see anything inside of me except for pollen. Because
Just
it's
pollen.
wild and crazy out here.
Inhaling it.
And I know that you know this, and I know
We've talked about it.
You're probably tired of talking about it, but I can't stop. We are having record-breaking pollen days here in Atlanta.
Pollen days.
Pollen
Pollen
it's kind
days.
of like the Honda days, but it's pollen days.
I
And
got my lobotomy at pollen days.
literally, I need a lobotomy. I need something to help because it's unreal.
Yeah,
The
do you
yeller
hear a
is everywhere.
voice?
Do you
hear a voice?
Can you meet me down here?
It's not good, but we're okay.
We're going to be fine. But it also means it's spring. And today is April started today.
Yeah.
April has
Technically, by the time you're listening to this, it is done, had started.
But, you know.
It's also like low-key April Fool's Day today. And you listening to this in the future probably know things that I don't know.
In what way?
Jokes that have been had.
Oh, okay.
And guess what? I don't like them.
You don't like an April Fool's
I don't like
joke?
to be fooled.
Oh.
I think that's the Leo in me. I don't like to be fooled.
You don't like to be
I
fooled.
don't think it's funny.
I think that April Fool's Day is a really good day for brands or people that work in marketing to take
True.
advantage of it, to do something really silly to make fun of their brand or their company. And I like it for that reason.
You're right.
I don't like it if somebody is going to take it upon themselves to call me and tell me like, I'm pregnant, or call me and say,
No, those are the worst.
don't do that to me.
No, because then, yeah, we're not going to get into it because that is like diabolical to do.
Yeah.
But when people do the fake like variety articles, like I'm going to be in a Marvel movie, I believe people.
I did see
because
today,
anything could happen.
I did see today, funny, a Dyson hair dryer.
Yeah.
They did one where they did about eyebrows. They did like a mini eyebrow hair dryer.
I believe them.
That's funny.
Those are the fun.
That's funny.
The fun, foolish jokes I like.
Yeah.
I like those kind of
Yeah.
You'll
jokes.
see they tried to announce Idris Elba as the next 007 on there too.
See, that's
got
messed
me.
up. I believe you.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
I would have. Who did that?
One of the movie like a movie humor thing. Yeah.
See,
Like,
that's
Yeah.
that's rude because he deserves it.
he does.
He does. And he should be that.
He should be that. Well, I don't know who we call and tell that to, but
No.
we'll figure it out.
Run and tell that.
Yeah. Today, listen, I think that we've
End of Q1.
we've had enough small talk banter. It is the end of Q1. And so because of that, today is going to be our all hands meeting. It's where we're gathering all of our departments. Everyone in the Personality Hire HQ is coming together for a meeting this morning to go over a few things. I've got my own personal agenda. Haley, I know you have your own agenda as well.
Always do.
But we really need to go through a couple of really important topics. Shall I begin, or would you like to begin, Haley?
I'm going to let you go ahead since
Okay.
I've never lived in or breathed in the corporate world,
Okay.
nor do I know what a quarter is.
Great.
I do.
She does know that
technically.
much.
But that's about it.
It's a 25-cent piece. Anyway, today we're going to go over just a couple of things on my personal agenda. So if everyone could really lock in, I need everyone to lock in. Let me pull it up here on my phone. Mine also has some accompaniments. The first one that I'd like to discuss here today was a shock to me. I think maybe other people are not going to be shocked, and I might be behind the times on this.
Okay.
But you and I have not spoken about this.
Ooh.
And if you do know about it and you haven't told me, I'm going to be like, what am I to you? Salmon DNA injections.
Girl, I never heard of that.
Salmon DNA injections. Okay, so I recently learned from an influencer that I follow that she has been getting, I'm looking up on my phone. Hold on, I don't want to get this wrong. She's been getting salmon DNA injections into her face, maybe her like cheek region, I want to say. I think that's where she said she got it. And the benefit of this is that it is a cosmetic procedure that involves injecting fragments of salmon DNA into the skin. And I believe what I read was that it's salmon sperm is what it is. And it's to help with collagen production. It's to help for like that overall youthful look. I just have I take issue with it. Not because I don't believe science, not because I don't believe that we should not be exploring other frontiers in the beauty aspect, but that feels wrong.
Okay, I'm going to have to agree with you on that subject.
Thank you.
First of all, producer Bryce's cat just walked in when you started talking about salmon, and I think that was a little bit of a tease for
Kind of.
Murph boy.
Murphy said,
He said,
"Frisky
"Well,
fees."
salmon, where?
Come here, Murphy. Come up here. Murphy's made an appearance, ladies and gentlemen.
Also, I famously have never had a cat because my mom and my brother were allergic to cats, so I don't know how to like interact with cats.
You don't. They come to you, and then
They come to you.
they're going to tell
I'm
you
like a
how
dog.
they want to be treated.
But I don't have a problem with cats. I love
No.
cats. Okay.
Would you
Salmon
get a
DNA.
Yeah.
Okay, if it was free and they had proof to show me, then sure, I would do it.
If it was free.
But here's my thing. When is enough enough? When is enough enough? We've talked about the vampire facials. We've talked about injecting babies' blood. We've talked about eating placentas. We've talked about NDA? No, NDA. Non-disclosure, which I would have to sign if I got salmon sperm put into my face because I'd be telling everybody because that's whack. But NAD. Like, when is enough enough?
Here's something that is, I know, not right. Like, this says more about my noggin than anything else. But when it comes to injecting something chemical filled and non-natural into my face, I've done it. But the fact that I'm going to scoff at a natural substance like salmon DNA, I understand that's
salmon
something.
sperm.
Salmon. I understand that
DNA
is
is the cuter way to say it.
that's something that is wrong with me. Now, I guess too, this is another tier to this in my brain. I love sushi. I
do.
love it. And
I like
love
salmon on top of,
nigiri rice. That's
yes,
exactly right.
but I
Yes.
don't know about
But
sperm on my.
my point being, my point
I just
being,
realized the clip that was gonna make.
my point being, I love salmon nigiri.
Yeah.
I love salmon nigiri. And so when I think about that same salmon, putting that under my skin, something don't sit right with me about that.
Yeah.
So anyway, just wanted to make sure you knew and you were aware that that is
This
a hot,
is the first time I'm hearing
hot
this.
trending beauty topic.
It's trending and it's hot.
It's trending and it's hot. And I don't know, never say never. Never say never, but I certainly don't think that it's on my next to-do list. If you've done it, I'd love to know more
I
about
want
it.
to hear. Yeah.
But I do think that there's a lot of things, we do the PRP facials, to your point. We do all those things. Like, why not go to a more natural source? I don't know. Maybe
Sure.
at your next omakase, they're going to light you up with salmon sperm. Anyway, moving on to my next topic on the agenda. Has everyone had any questions on my first topic? Anything?
Oh, I haven't.
No questions. Anything? Everything's been said.
I'm blown away.
Perfect. Okay, great. Moving on to my next agenda item. I was looking recently at some Instagram inspiration, if you will. Haley and I, we like to try to think about ways that we're going to put content together. We like to try to think about ways that we're going to keep things funky fresh. I was looking at some, I don't know, I honest to God don't even know how I got here, but the internet led me to the pioneerwoman.com.
Sick.
Pioneer Woman is on the Food Network. Her name is Ray Drummond. Ree Drummond, not Ray.
Okay, I was about to say
Ree.
that is
Ree Drummond.
a musical artist
And she
who
is
sings Black Beatles, right? Black Beatles in the city. Something immediately.
Ray Drummond.
Who is that? Is Ray Drummond?
I think so.
okay. Well, this woman's name is Ree. Close to Ray, but it's just Ree, I believe.
She cooks Black Beatles.
She is the Pioneer Woman on the Food Network. She's built a huge brand for herself. She had a blog first. She lives in Oklahoma on a gigantic ranch. She's got beautiful red
Love the
hair.
Midwest.
And she is just and has been absolutely crushing the Midwestern wife.
Pioneer game.
Mhm, exactly. I found an article that her and her team wrote. She and her team, who knows? I'm going to say, I like to think that she literally sat down and wrote this herself. It's 100 funny Instagram captions to give your followers a good chuckle.
I love that she said a good job.
I know. And I wanted to read a few to you because they're just so funny. So not only does she have these Instagram captions, but she gives you the proper way that you should utilize them.
Okay.
So she says, for instance, if you're going to take a selfie, you could say like, let me see. Like if you're going to say do a selfie, she's like, do I clean up nice or what as the caption? Or life is so short. Smile while you still have teeth. Okay. moving on. There are a few more. The only marathons I run are on Netflix. And then she's like, I'm not lazy, just on energy saving mode today. Anyway, I just love the idea of the thought of Pioneer Woman putting a whole 100,
And she's like,
100
go wild for
captions.
this.
Exactly. 100 of them. 100.
100 is a lot.
Yes, 100 of them. I'm gonna link it to something. I just want you guys to see it. And I just think it's just so cute. Besties for the resties, 2 peas in a pod, or 2 clowns in a circus. That's the one she wants you to use when it's you and your bestie in a photo. 2 peas in a pod, or 2 clowns on the circus. So that was the second thing on my agenda. I just wanted to share that because it just brought a smile to my face.
Well, that's amazing.
100 of them, Haley.
I love it.
100 captions.
She did that. She really did that.
Moving on.
I need her to get a TikTok.
Moving on. My final agenda item before I pass it on to the clown department. And I say that with love because Haley did clowning at
Yes. And I'm a clown.
at
Alabama.
her
In
Alabama
my theater
university.
program.
My
Roll
final
Tide.
agenda item is I've been thinking a lot about things that feel legal but aren't. You know, this is something that
Feel that aren't. Okay.
this feels so illegal to me. This thing I could never
Okay, so feel illegal, but
illegal,
aren't.
but is not illegal whatsoever.
Okay.
Or just something that feels like I could never do it, but
I thought you meant legal.
No, it feels illegal, but it's not.
Okay.
No. My number one when I think about this is it feels illegal and wrong for me to take a bath in my kid's bathtub. It's the only
Okay.
bathtub we have in our house. It's nice. It's this beautiful clawfoot
beautiful.
tub. But like if I ever wanted to take a bath, the idea of like I just can't imagine myself getting into her bathtub. Like, because I'm like, well, it's her bathtub. But I'm like, no, it's the only bathtub we have in the house. And if I wanted to take a special bath, maybe I wanted to get like a little Lush bath bomb. Maybe I wanted to like have an experience, like a little relaxation moment. I could never do that. It feels illegal. It feels like the cops would show up and be like, ma'am, what are you doing?
You've stolen this stuff.
Exactly right.
Yeah. I think it should be illegal to take baths as an adult. I think it's gross. I think it's so nasty.
Why?
One time as an adult, because someone said, no, it's so relaxing. So I took a shower so I wouldn't feel gross in the bath. And then I took a bath and then I was sweating in the bath. So I had to take another shower. And I said, no. Why are we wasting our time in all this hot water?
I'm not ever going to wash my hair in the bath. I'll be clear about that. I'm not going to get my body in a bathtub
For
and then
muscles.
Sure, yeah. There's so many good benefits to taking a nice warm bath. Wait, a question.
I don't
Do
even like
you-
the word bath. I don't like the word bathe more specifically.
Inconceivable. Do you have a problem with hot tubs?
No.
Okay. So where do you,
Well, I'm not trying to get clean. I'm just like relaxing,
but why can't you do that in a bathtub? Why can't you?
because there's no like, I don't know. I think it's because the water's like, it's not constantly going and running. There's something about that's just sitting water.
Okay.
Does that make sense? That it's just
Maybe you just need a cooler tub.
a cooler tub,
Mhm.
like
Call it clawfoot tub. Or
okay.
maybe
Or-
it's
Maybe you need one with like jets. Like you need a
I need
a jet
cooler tub, or I need
a jet stream bathtub.
maybe. I don't like baths.
I get it. I do.
But I don't think it should be illegal. I understand your sentiment though, that like it feels like you're encroaching on her
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
space.
But I feel like I'm doing myself a disservice as someone
No,
who
I
would
think you should get in there.
occasionally think about getting into the bath and then I immediately recoil and I'm like, no, help me in her bath. I can't bathe in there. And then I think that that's pretty much it. I don't really feel like I have anything else to discuss except for my final point is that I have been thinking a lot about getting a new 5-minute stand-up routine together.
Ooh,
At night when I'm drifting off
drifting
to
into
sleep,
sleep.
I've been having some pretty good punchlines come to me.
Do you write them down right away?
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
It's because
That's
I'm in
I'm
this
bad
like
about
weird
that.
lucid state and it's things I'm less critical of the things that I'm thinking about because I'm not quite, it doesn't really matter. I'm drifting to
Yeah.
sleep. So I'm not as critical on what I'm thinking about or I'm not as hard on myself about, well, that's not funny. No, I don't think that's funny.
Yeah.
So anyway, I've been thinking about that. And that's my final thought. That's my final point on my agenda. The department of Looney Tunes has come to an end. And we'd like to pass the all hands meeting baton to the clown department.
That's me honking my nose, and the clown cars are doing their spins. So in classic me form, not knowing what an all hands on meeting is, I brought you stories. So I am going to change some things up again in my noggin a little bit. So I'm going to start with one that we haven't talked about that pretty much everyone on the internet has talked about, but I need to know your opinion or what you know about this. Have you seen the movie Hairspray?
I have not, but I know enough to know that John Travolta was in it at one point.
So this is going to mean very little to you, but Nikki Blonsky.
I know about this.
Okay. She has been making the rounds on Cameo. They went viral. And I've got to say, I watched one and now my whole algorithm is Nikki Blonsky going, "Hi, Craig. I heard you're the nicest kid in town. It's Nikki Blonsky from the movie Hairspray." And then she says her message. I can't get enough now. I can't get enough. Even if I wanted to get enough, they're all over my algorithm. And I wanted to know how you felt. And if you have them on yours.
I do have them on mine. And I had to look her up to see when she was in Hairspray, what her role was, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
My only question to you is she in on the joke of her doing this? Does she understand that people are asking her for all these cameos because she is being poked fun at?
I don't know.
No. Okay.
I don't know. I think she did raise her price on Cameo. Good for
Okay.
you. They should probably be more expensive, honestly. And then she was requested to be on a popular daily podcast, like pop culture podcast that actually loves her and celebrates her. And she turned them down. So.
Oh, she did. What podcast was it?
The Toast.
The Toast.
Yeah.
Okay. I my only thoughts are, I think that it's great that she's able to monetize her part in that movie, and I think that's amazing. I just can't help but think, though, is she in on the joke? That was my only question. Because if she is, then I say keep it moving, sister. Like, keep the money
Even
train
if you're
growing.
not, milk it.
Yeah, that's
Get
right.
that money. Get that money, honey.
I just think, though, if she's not in on it, yes, get the money, but also I wish that somebody would maybe somebody close to her has said to her, "Here's the real deal of what's going on," and maybe that's why she declined the podcast.
I think she might be a little in the mind
out
department.
of touch.
A little different.
Okay.
She has classically over the years, and things have resurfaced.
Oh, some of her tweets.
Well, yeah, there's that, and then it's also like, have you seen the video of her in West Virginia being like, "Thank you, West Virginia," and it's like she's like, "Guys, check out this hotel, the view," which honestly so sweet and pure, but it was like a parking lot, a tree. Sorry,
Okay.
I don't know. That could have been a joke.
Maybe we don't get her sense of humor.
Also, I will say too, I want to acknowledge this, is she did get into an airport brawl over a racial slur. So I'm not.
That she said?
I believe her mother said it.
Oh, crikey.
Yes. And then
Crikey.
she was defending her mother,
Oh.
which, So there's that. She might not be the nicest kid in town, or she may be. I don't know what's going on here. But a lot of Nikki Blonsky on my timeline.
Okay.
Number 2, SPF for the face. I've been on a journey. I've gotten the under makeup done. Like, it's fine. I've gotten that under control. Everybody keeps trying to give me tinted moisturizer. No, what I need to find is something to go over your makeup. Let's say, we're filming or we're at an outdoor party or something, like where I want my makeup to look semi-decent. It will separate with most sunblocks, right? So I found one that I'm kind of toying with. I can't tell yet because I haven't been out in the sun enough because of the pollen. since I've purchased it, but it is the Vacation brand
Yep.
spray. It is $20 for a little bitty spray. So that
But it smells great.
It does smell good. And that's the only time you'll use it, right? Like is when you're out. Like I wouldn't just use it like at the beach when I don't need, to not separate makeup because there's no makeup. But like if again, outdoor event. I am so unreasonably pale. I have layers right now for the folks at home watching on YouTube. I have layers of self tanner on. You can't tell. The other day, someone said to me, "Well, I've got this great self tanner that would look good," and I go, "No. This is." Actually forget what it's called, but it's this like really expensive stuff that I get on the Zon, and it is great. It's really good for someone who's bad at self tanner. And then I use the after shower Jergens after every shower, and I still look like this.
I saw that you asked this.
Yeah.
I think that you brought this up, but I use a powder SPF.
Okay, but does it work when you're outdoors?
Yes.
Okay, because
Yes,
I
yes,
used
yes.
to have a powder that didn't work. So send me the link, honey.
The one that I have is it's Super Goop. And
Okay.
it has a self little clicking bit at the bottom, so then it puts it to the brush area, and it's great. And it really helps. It gives great coverage.
Awesome.
It's perfect for when you're on the go, when you're out, when you've already applied your makeup. And I highly recommend powder for that specific.
Okay.
That's for what you're saying.
Yes, because I'm thinking like outdoor wedding. I do not want to mess up my makeup, but sister is pale. And she will burn like this. And guess what? I don't want to get salmon sperm injected into my face just yet.
Have you looked to see? I wonder if this is a product that they have. A makeup setting spray with SPF?
I have that.
Okay.
But we need to reapply, right? So it's something that I want to have in my purse for if I'm at an outdoor wedding, outdoor event. I don't want to which I guess I could just take the setting spray.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. And just continue. Because then if you're at an outdoor wedding, I'm also like, okay, well, you're getting a little sweaty. Like,
I think
can
you
you
just solved the ish for me.
Reset
right.
your makeup.
Milani has a great, it's called, I like the dewy look. And it's a dewy setting spray. I've tried all the setting sprays. I've been on sets and had all the nicest setting sprays, all the professional ones. Milani setting spray is my jam. And they have one with SPF. I wish it was SPF 50. It's 30, but it'll have to.
I'm going to say, got to take what you can
Yeah,
get.
and I'll just reapply it.
I think that's what you do.
Yeah.
I think you put that thing in your bag and I think you rock and roll.
Okay, I'm into
Let's
it.
go.
Okay, number 3. So this is going into, this was a story I had, an event that happened this week that I just want to tell you about, all the girls and everybody else. So Friday night, me and my buddy go to the Beltline we were in workout clothes. We were just taking a walk and hanging out, having a snack. And we decided to pop into Lady Bird and have a beverage. We're sitting down and a woman comes up to me and she's like, "Hey, can I ask you something? Do you think that man over there is handsome?" And I was like, "Oh, she's playing wingman." And I go, "He is handsome, but I have been betrothed. I am unavailable." And she was like, "Are you sure?" And I could tell she has had several beverages, libations of the alcoholic descent. She was loosey-goosey. And she was like, "You're lying." And I'm like, "I'm not lying." And I didn't like that.
I don't like that.
I didn't like that energy. But she and her pals came and sat down with us. And we were like, "Hi." And everybody else was so normal.
One of the pals being the guy that she was referring to?
Yes. And he's like, "I'm sorry." And he was like, "I don't think you're lying." And I was like, "Thank you. Because even if I was, get over it. But I'm not. So don't say anything." Anyway, we're sitting there, we're talking, and she's like, "You are so pretty." Again, she's drunk. She's like, "You're so pretty. You should work for me." And I was like, "What do you do?" Is she a madam? Nope. She works in medical sales devices.
That really
It tracks.
really
Yeah.
tracks.
And she wanted me to work for her. And so I was like, I have no sales ability. And I'm like just saying, no. I'm just like kind of laughing because they're all laughing because her husband is also there who also owns this business with her. And he's like, you would be good at it. Look at you. You'd be great. And I was like, mm. And then so they asked me what I do. And I say, I'm an actor. And they were like, we don't know who you are. And I go, I don't know who you are. They pull me up on IMDb and they go, yeah, I think you could leave this career. And I was like, what do you mean? By the way, I'm not shy. Go look at my IMDb. I'm not shy. I'm proud. And this has been after a week of, I had the biggest, like, in one volume, most volume in a week of career highs that I'd ever had last week. I booked a role. So excited about the one that the last time we spoke, I don't even know if we talked about that I was pinned for. I got the call back, which we did mention, and we're not going to talk about names of anything, obviously, or who's involved, anything, but I'm allowed to say this stuff. I did have my first in-person callback for TV and film in person. This doesn't happen in Atlanta in literally like forever. Like I don't remember the last time that I had. I remember first round auditions, like before, the pandemic. But callback. And then before I even had gotten home, I got pinned, which was so exciting. And then that day, I also got a recurring audition for a show that I really wanted to be on. And also I got a veil check for it that Friday. So I just got that avail check. I go to this thing and I just realized literally people could say anything and it can like knock you off your game a little bit. It knocked me off my game a little bit, but I was just like, this is insane what people feel free to say. And then I do want to say that the thing that I was pinned for, I was released from the pin. Super bummer, super bummed about, but like, I mean, it happens.
I think too that what they did to you is such a older than dust tactic because you can use that for anyone in any situation too and make it knock them off their game. Like for instance, let's say you were the world's best party host. Let's say you throw banging parties and the person looks at you and they go, I've never been to your party. I've never heard about your parties. So they must not be that great.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I'm not diminishing what I'm validating it really can take you a minute to go like, wait, no, I know they're trying to tell you a different story about yourself where for a minute it makes you go like, wait, what do you mean you don't know me? Like, who cares? Who are you? I don't know you either.
Yeah.
But it does give you this sense, a little bit of like, wait, huh? I'm out of place. Are you out of place? What are we doing here? Like, it's very like disarming.
Yes. Well, what it reminded me of is that like after all those great wins, that you still have to like, it's all about you. Like you can win all you want and someone's still going to make you feel that way, or they could make you feel that way. So you have to think, and I've been talking with other friends because I think like in sharing my wins last week with some of my closer friends, I saw the way it affected different people. Some were excited and encouraged and others were like, I'm literally going to quit. Like nothing's happening for me. And I was reminded in both of those examples that you really do, and this is so corny. It is really corny and annoying to say. And I feel like I'm allowed to say it after getting released, yesterday from that pin. I think I'm allowed to say this now, even though people would be like, well, you just had all these good things happen. You can't say that. No, you have to believe in yourself more than anyone does. Why are you doing this if you don't? And then if you're questioning it, then you got to stop talking about it. Because I think you can go in circles and around in your head telling yourself what other people have told you. This lady was so off her rocker. And she said something to me that kind of knocked me off mine, for a second. I immediately started giggling because I was like,
who are you? Also,
like, name 2 actors. She was like, Scarlett Johansson. I was like, okay, so you're comparing me to Scarlett Johansson because you don't know me like Scarlett Johansson. That's crazy. But if anything, it was a lesson. And that's what I'm saying. This is not to be like, I'm not like sad about it. I just recognized something like I could have been at the top of my game and something that someone said could still affect me like that. When you
Yeah.
think like no one could tell me nothing. You know what I mean? At that point.
Well,
But someone
even if it does,
told me something.
even if something like that does slightly rock your world, it isn't necessarily an indicator of your confidence in yourself. Because
No.
I know that at the end of the day, like just you, for example, you're extremely confident in your abilities and what you do, and also your dream and overall vision for your career. So it doesn't matter how much of that you have because you're still a human being, and other
Oh, yeah.
people I think don't recognize how much power other people have in terms of their words, especially when it comes from strangers,
Yeah.
because strangers sometimes their words can cut more than even close people's words when it comes in a scenario like that, because the basis, there's no history, there's no basis,
Yeah.
there's nothing there other than just in my opinion, the wanting to be mean or to cut you.
Yeah.
And that really is so unkind, and it can hurt worse sometimes.
Yeah.
I think it's easier to get over
I literally
than if somebody close says something mean to you.
Yes,
It might take
it's
a little
way easier.
longer, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't like kind of pierce you immediately and go like, well, damn, because you don't know me. And I think for me, it gives me that immediate gut reaction to literally throw my mask off and be like, well, let me tell you why you're wrong, kind of thing,
Well-
which is not the right reaction,
Yeah.
but it can happen.
I did say to her when we left, because I said, I looked at my friend, I go, we're leaving. I literally looked at her and go, well, you really wanted me to work for you. So I know that I have some kind of star quality. And I did like a little thing. I was being silly and the whole table laughed. I was like, you guys have such a good night. And she was like, call me. She gave me her number because she really wants me to work for her still. But all that to say, we also talked about, Jesse and I talked about this privately, but with all those wins happening, I told her that I told a friend who's very close to me, and the friend did not say anything to me, like just totally ignored it. And I was like, dang, I've been working so hard for so long, and these like little seeds of like happiness are sprinkled upon my little garden career. And a friend didn't say something, and that hurt worse.
Yeah.
And we were talking about that like, but again, like it just taught me. I learned so much just in a week's time, you know, to even less than a week. I've learned so much about my mental game and like what I want it to look like, because Wednesday, my mental game, I went into that callback. I couldn't have been more proud of myself. And I'm still like, I will ride the high of that callback. I went in there. Somehow I was like shaking before I went in there. I went in, was not shaking, was fine, was cool, had witty banter with the director, was chilling, left shaking again. It's like it was like Severance. Like all of a sudden I was Helena, and then I was like Heliar, you know, or Mark S. I don't know.
Not Marcus.
Yeah, no,
That
Mark S.
adrenaline kicked in.
What?
That adrenaline kicked in.
Yeah, no, it kicked in, and then also I'm not gonna say it on the pod what it is, because it has a curse word in it, but I have this thing that I've been saying to myself when I'm feeling nervous, or when I need to remind myself of that I'm supposed to be doing this. And anyway, I just think like, I think it's up to us at this point. Like, obviously surround yourself with people who encourage you and want to celebrate you, even if they're not having the best time in their career, because that's weird to not celebrate the people you love. But also, I think I learned last week, I have to be on my game, even on the low points. Like even yesterday when I got the email, my eyes rolled all the way back in my head and I go, of course. And then I go, of course. Why did I just say of course? No, not of course. Not of course. And my agent sent the nicest message along with it too. And I still let my eyes roll all the way back in my head and say, of course.
It's okay to do that though, as
Yeah.
long as you
But you have to like recognize it.
exactly.
And it's your job to do that. Like,
and
no
as
one
long
else
as
is going to
you-
do that for you.
you follow it up with something that's a little bit more kind to yourself. You have to follow it
Yes.
up. You can lose yourself in whatever negativity you want for a moment. That's normal.
Yeah.
But you just have to follow it up with something that's going to progress you forward and keep your momentum going, and also keep your own positivity and your self-confidence high. Because
Yeah.
that's everything that you're saying.
Mhm.
And also just to quickly touch on the fact that you have experienced some people that you had thought might be happy for you. Not only were they, it's even worse than faking it. They're just ignoring it.
That was crazy. I was like,
I think that oftentimes when that happens, in my experience, it means that the person is, number one, they're jealous. They are absolutely jealous and they don't know what to say, but they also know that it's not a good look to be jealous. So they say nothing at all. And then second to that, their immediate thought essentially is, why her and not me? Why them and not me? And so they don't even know how to respond because they're thinking, why not me? Nothing good ever happens to me. But in reality, that person has not done half of the things that you've done to put yourself in the position that you're in. They haven't tried. They haven't really gone after it. They haven't been tenacious about anything. So they're unfounded in their thought process of, why me? Nothing good ever happens to me. Oh, Haley, why does Haley deserve it and I don't deserve it? It's because Haley works for it. And I'm just using it as an example, but that mindset of other people will keep them stuck. It will keep them unhappy. It will keep them from living and pursuing their real dreams for their entire life until they can see that there is enough room for everyone. And also until they can see you have to have self-confidence to pursue the things you want. So if you do not have self-confidence in who you are and your own abilities or lack of abilities, you can have confidence in your lack of abilities as well. It will keep you stuck until you choose to move through that and say, I'm going to be confident in spite of myself. And it also opens up room for you to have confidence in other people.
Yeah.
And you also touched on, it's hard to be confident for other people and to pour into other people when they won't pour into themselves. And when you give them advice and time again, they either don't take it or they do the exact opposite, but yet they keep coming back to you for your advice, only for you to know when you give it, they're going to do the exact opposite. That is such a waste of your energy and your overall like well-being, honestly.
Yeah.
And I hate to end it on this note, but my personal opinion is, if you have someone in your life that is consistently doing that to you, they're not intended to be in your life in the way that you think that they might be. And I know that is dark. It's a little depressing and sad, but in my experience, it's the truth. And I know it's not so easy to like snip somebody out of your life. That's not what I'm saying necessarily, but I am saying if you continuously turn to somebody for a support system that they aren't providing for you, maybe they're just a fun friend. Maybe they're just somebody that you can grab a drink with and shoot the shit. But you got to separate those things too. And I hate that for you. I hate that for you, Haley. But I also know in the same coin, I know what you and I have as a friendship is so strong that I know that anybody could say jack shit to you and you would turn to me, and I know that you trust me and believe in me so much that you would say, fuck them, Jesse's right. Yeah. And I'm not saying that I'm the only person in your life for that. I'm just saying I know you've got other people in your life that do that for you. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think like having that mental, like everything you're saying still goes back to yourself, oneself, and like having the awareness too, to be pouring into yourself and to have self-confidence and to know when you're not being confident, when yourself is not confident, and what you got to do about that. But I even had that discussion with a few other actors this week of like, and people don't want to hear it. No one wants to hear it, but you do have to have confidence to pursue anything, whether it be a relationship, a friendship, a career.
My experience with this, I have a very similar experience, actually pretty recently, but I think it's a little bit of the idea around change. Like a lot of those people don't, they kind of look at you as the problem, kind of, but they're not really like internalizing it a little bit more of like, okay, like what could I do differently? And then attacking that.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a little bit more of that shift that people need more.
Yeah. Taking it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
in recognizing that it's uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a friend that's achieving something that you yourself might want to achieve in the same way or in a similar like career path or whatever, I encourage you to go to that friend and say, how are you doing it? As opposed to
rising
number one,
tides.
Congratulations. I'm so happy for you. And then number two, how are you doing this? I'm so proud of you. I want the same things that you want, not necessarily the identical things because your opportunities are not my opportunities.
Right.
But like, let's work together to get each other up to where we want to be and are meant to be.
I've never understood that though. Not what you're saying. I agree with you because that's what I would do. And that's what I have done. But I also never understand idea that someone can't celebrate others, especially the people they love, even if it's something they want. Because trust me, I have a lot of very successful friends and I love watching them win. And honestly, when I see that, there is a moment of like, "Ah, I want that too for me. Like I want to book this big thing. I want to do all this stuff." But also I look at it and I go, well, I'm going to have that too because they're showing me it's right there and I can grab it. It's so close to me. I can see it. It's with arm, like it's not, this isn't some random famous person I don't know. No, I know this person personally. And I watched them work their way here. So I know it's possible. Instead of saying, why'd she get that?
I think
Or
sometimes
why'd they get that? Or he,
the way that separates you though from them is I think that you see it as I know it's there. I see the proof right in front of me. I think other people might go scarcity mindset. If she's gotten it, that's all there is to get. And there's nothing left for me,
crazy.
which I don't
Yeah.
think is the case in anything ever. And I think we've said this on the podcast before, but it gets me like choked up because I think about Sunny when I like think about this, but your unique perspective, like who you are, there's never going to be anybody that could put your unique perspective into that. And that's enough to keep going. And that's enough to know that there isn't scarcity in anything. There are opportunities in everything because the opportunity is you. It's rooted in you and who you are. It's not rooted in the movie. It's not rooted in the audition. It's not rooted in the promotion. It's not rooted in any of that. It's rooted in like who you are. And to think that like my daughter might one day think that like there's no opportunity for her. I'm like, bitch, look at who you are. There's opportunities for you just innate in who you are. And you know it's
Absolutely.
real because I just called her by her Christian name and not
Christian
Scooby-Doo, okay? But it just like gets me so emotional thinking about anybody might belittle who they are in their dreams and what they want to go after because they don't think that they're good enough. In a way, it's that self-confidence thing, but
Yeah.
it's like it's not about the opportunity. It's about who you are and what's meant for you.
Yeah.
And that can be a little woo-woo, and you might go, that's too woo-woo for me, and that's okay. I understand that. But you also have to know that like I fully believe what is meant for people, if you're open to it, it will find you. It will it will totally find you. But that doesn't mean that you don't have to work for it
Oh, no.
too. You can't just
Well,
like, lay
that's-
there and go like, well, I'm here, universe. Like I'm here for you.
Yeah.
There's blood, sweat, and tears that goes behind it too.
No, I have a friend, Caleb Castell, who he is an actor. He was an Alabama football player, and he was a regular on NCIS LA. And we talk about this a lot because he's a Christian. I'm a Christian. And he has said to me, if God has put this passion in your heart and you're seeing these like little glimmers of hope, because this was a few years ago, I talked on the phone on FaceTime with him for like 3 hours on Christmas break. Like, I'm not kidding. Talking to him about like, should I move to LA? Like this scarcity mindset. Again, like I was like, if I don't move to LA, I'm not going to meet the right casting directors because casting directors here, like I'm too distracted or like whatever. Like I told myself this story, or I'm not getting the right training, or I don't have the right representation, which is so untrue. All of this is so untrue. He told me, he goes, are you in line? And I go, what? And he was like, so who cares if you're first in line or 45th in line? Are you in line? Are you doing it? Are you pursuing it? Which is the work. Are you doing the work? Are you pursuing it? And I go, yeah. And he goes, so you're going to get it. You're in line. God put this passion in your heart, and some odd reason between the chemical makeup of who you are, how you were raised with your parents, your parents believing in you, your friends believing in you, all these right people coming into your life. And somehow at this age, when you know about the world and the world has beaten down on you a little bit, or at least you know that everything's not sunshine and rainbows, but at this point, you still somehow have this passion in your heart. That's absolutely magic. That is magic. To have a passion is magic.
I
And
also
to pursue it is the faith in doing the work.
And to pursue it, I think, is the gift too, because being able to have the gift and the option to pursue it is huge. And I also think too that we don't talk enough about how the passion that's in your heart can evolve. The more opportunities that you're open to, the passion in your heart is a starting point, and there's an evolution to it. There's other things that can come from it, and you might discover something you're passionate about you never even dreamed that you would be into, or that you would feel as your calling. And those like, again, I think you can listen to this and think like that's the woo woo in me, and that's fine, because there is. But I genuinely believe that everyone has a passion. Not everyone has the gift or the opportunity to pursue it. I understand too that it's very, very difficult to sometimes to go after things that you want because of your privilege, your financial circumstances, your family circumstances. You might have other obligations to people that make you have yourself at the bottom of the totem pole, the bottom of the to-do list, because everybody else. I know that feeling. I know that feeling. But similar to like what we're kind of talking about with your career right now, I feel like I am in a huge renaissance of my own personal life. And I am fully, I said this to a few people, but like my full-time job right now is I am podcast host.
Which it is.
I am full-time podcast host / pursuing every dream I put on the back burner for 10 plus years. And I am truly a testament to being at the bottom of my to-do list out of necessity. So I understand that there are bigger things in your life that take precedence and priority, and that you can't always focus on yourself. And it feels selfish, and it feels like the biggest mountain you could ever climb to do something for yourself, when you know that you've got other people around you that rely on you for things like quite literally food, or they rely on you financially, or for even emotional support. It can feel huge to think that you could do one tiny thing for yourself. It might take 10 years. I'm living proof of that. But there will be an opportunity for you to kind of like pivot and see what the other world around you has to offer. And you might be pushing 40, baby, but it can come right down your lane. And when it does, you got to be ready to like scoop it up. I'm literally right now.
You're the example. And I will say this every time I can say this on every podcast and it won't be enough. But Jesse years ago and a lot of people have told me I should do stand-up comedy, but for years and years and years, telling me to do stand-up comedy. Then me and Jessie are gabbing in her living room every night with a glass of wine, just cracking our stuff up, talking about everything we talk about on the pod. And she's like, we should start a podcast. 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 I can't tell you how many times Jessie said that. And I was like, not another project. Like I was so overwhelmed. And then I went through a breakup. Family got sick. Had a friend pass away, and I literally looked at Jessie and I was like, what do we have to lose? Let's do it, sister. And now the podcast, again, is a part of my acting journey, by the way. It is all one. Like, again, like what you said, it evolves. The passion evolves. It is all this pot of gold. But the other day I was saying, it was actually to one of Bryce's family members. They were like, how did you, like, why the podcast? And I said, I was like, oh, me and my best friend, we wanted to do stand-up comedy, but it was kind of, the lifestyle was it was rough on our lives. Again, having to provide for family, and me having to go to work early the next day and then teach cycling classes and have to be okay and have brain space then to go film an audition. Like it wasn't working out. And then we found this beautiful thing, which again, I don't even know if Jessie knew what she was opening up, the can of worms she opened up. But now look at it, you know?
Yeah.
And like even in the last few months, the growth our podcast has had is just, I'm not surprised. And I tell her all the time, I'm like, I'm not shocked. And I have every bit of faith. And it is probably the one thing right now in my life that I'm like, oh, for sure.
And growth.
For sure about this.
Huge thanks in part to producer Bryce,
yes.
obviously, who Bryce
He's
France.
a part of that growth.
Yeah, yeah. Bryce France.
Meaning like
photographer, producer extraordinary. He lives in Atlanta. Get at him. BryceFrance.com. I think that too, it's so fun and important to talk about this shit with your friends.
Yeah.
That just popped into my mind about how it is so fun to talk about your dreams with friends. And I don't do it enough. I do not sit around and shoot the shit and talk about these big wild ideas and dreams with my friends. Like I don't, and I wish that I did a little bit more, but maybe that's also part of my new trajectory. Maybe I'm going to be a little bit more like, tell
doing
me
it
your
more.
hopes and dreams.
She's doing it more. I feel like you've never hidden it from me or like shied away.
I have it with you. That's true. I have it with you.
Like you literally even were like, let's do Pictionary, and then we did Pictionary. Which
Oh my God.
we'll see with that.
Jerry, when is our Pictionary episode airing? You guys said
Jerry.
sometime before May 2025.
We still have time.
Girl, that made me sweat thinking about
I know,
that.
I'm sweating,
Oh
actually.
my gosh. When is our episode going to air?
It's coming out.
Anyway, I don't know. I just feel like this is fun. I'm glad you brought that up because we haven't talked about this in a long time. I think that sometimes we've gone on tangents before about like what our careers mean to us and what our passions mean to us. But the other thing too that I'm trying really hard right now to do for my own personal life and personal well-being is separate like worthiness of who I am from my career.
Oh my goodness.
And making my career more focused in a lane that I am passionate about, being podcast hosting and hosting in general, TV hosting, wherever that might take me. I find that it's so much easier to separate my self-worth from my career when I'm working towards something that I really care about, as opposed to being in a more traditional working setting where my self-worth was very much tied up into my accomplishments, the things I ticked off my to-do list every day. And that is really an exhausting mindset to be in. And
also, you sharing, and I encourage you to share on the podcast more because I think a lot of mothers listen to this podcast, and I feel like that I can't speak to that because I have no idea I can only imagine. And I stress out about it quite often about what that might look like in my future. But you are someone who is brave enough to do something that is out of the norm that some people might look at. And I kind of want to hear how you feel about this, but some people might look at other moms, other people in the community might look at and say, that's weird. That's cringe. What is she doing? Who does she think she is? You know, that sort of stuff. And we were at the park the other day and we were walking and we ran into two like stunning, beautiful moms. And you guys were talking about a school event that was going on. And then you were like, and then one of the moms said, oh, Jessie has a podcast. And then she was like, yeah, this is my podcast host. We were wearing disguises. No one could see us.
we were.
And she goes, oh my gosh. And she was talking and I was just like, Jessie started talking about what the podcast was. And I couldn't have been more proud as we walked away because I was like, I think I would have been nervous if I were in your position with, you know, these like people in the community. You don't know them that well. You don't know what they're going to say. Their moms, like, you know, it's, you know, all that lifestyle, like some of that can feel sometimes like you have to put on maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't want to like, I just know how I would feel. So I was just kind of like observing the situation. And I was so proud of Jessie because the way she described our podcast, well, one, it was spot on, but also she was just so bold. And being bold in the things you believe in and what you want to do, that's what removes the cringe and removes the who does she think she is? Oh, she just told you. She just told you. And the people who are questioning that, again, it goes back to, unfortunately, they might be feeling some jealousy and or some lack of self-confidence where they can't say that about themselves and what they want to pursue.
I think two things just popped into my mind when you said that. Number one is when you become a parent, not even just a mom, but a dad or a guardian, when you become a parent, you are not, oftentimes, you're not viewed as an individual any longer. You're viewed as Scooby-Doo's mom. Mm-hmm. And Scooby-Doo's mom doesn't have a life outside of Scooby-Doo. That's that. You are rearing a child. Their needs come first. And that's true. And my top priority is my child. My top priority are meeting all of her needs and making sure that she's got what she needs to thrive independently. That takes some time. That takes a lot of time as a parent to get to the mindset to where you're like, do I trust that my kid can thrive independently? Because there's a lot of anxiety around rearing a child. So it takes work to also have self-confidence in yourself to say, I am an individual outside of my child. You hear people talk a lot about losing themselves in the very early stages of having a kid because it's so full on. The pendulum does swing back, and oftentimes it comes back pretty aggressively, which I'm thankful for, because had it not come back aggressively, I feel like I might have been like, well, I'm lost forever. Who was I? I don't know. But when it comes to representing who I am around other people that know my child, I've been pretty lucky. I think that people didn't understand what I was doing for quite some time. And now that I think that I've gotten better at, again, introducing who I am and what I do and why I do it and my goals and my dreams, I've been so unabashed about it. I've been so in your face about it, not to an annoying degree, I hope, but I've been so open about what I do and who I do it for that everyone has really been very open to it. And to be clear, who I do it for is me. I'm not doing it for anyone except for what I want to do. And I hear people all the time that tell me they listen that I had no idea they listened. I hear one of Scooby-Doo's teacher told me she listened. I wanted to crawl into a hole and die, but I love her so much. And she told me how much she enjoyed it. So it's crazy, but I think that bottom line being, I separate this from motherhood. And you're right. I can probably put more motherhood into the way that I decided to present myself on this podcast. And full disclosure, because I am no longer working for anyone else or any other clients, I do plan to put a little bit more of myself into this podcast because I can now. But it's tricky when you have a kid because you want to represent them in a really great way too. I want to represent my kid. I want my kid to be proud of me. I want her to be able to know that everything I did, I was myself authentically, but I also didn't want to embarrass the shit out of her, even though I know that I will. It's inevitable. But I wouldn't have it any other way right now because I feel so emboldened to talk about who I want to be, where I want to be in motherhood, and where I want to be in my career. And I feel like I used to be on this rip-roaring tangent to, I want to prove that there is balance between having a kid and having a career and having a successful marriage. I used to really want to prove that that is possible. It isn't possible in the way that I wanted to prove it. I will say that. I will be totally honest there. It is not possible in the way that I thought that it was, but it's possible in the way that I can write it for myself to be. I'm going to juggle. One ball is going to be in the air while two are going to be on the ground, and then I'm going to pick up the other one and throw it up, and that's just how it's going to be for the time being. It might always be that way, but I don't mind it anymore. And I'm not so hell-bent on trying to have everything an equal balance. In fact, This is here first. In fact, I'm actually putting myself first above other things right now, which is new and weird and scary. It's probably the scariest shit I've ever done, if I'm being totally honest.
Yeah, that's scary.
But I am putting myself at the number one to-do list spot. And I've never done that before.
And you have,
so, let's see what else. Let's see what else falls by the wayside. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what other things I can drop if I put me at the top.
Or pick up.
Who knows? Maybe I'll become a clown, just like Haley Grace.
Yep, we can figure it out.
When you submit things, are you Haley Grace sworn out or just Haley?
Haley sworn out.
Okay.
Yeah. Which I've thought about being Haley Grace, but there is like another actress, Haley Grace, and I'm the only Haley sworn out in the world. So
dead ass.
Dead
Do
ass.
people still say that?
Say what?
Dead ass.
Dead ass?
Dead
I don't
ass.
know.
Oh, okay.
I literally don't know what people say because I at one point they were saying skibbity toilet. And yes.
What does that mean?
Okay. I thought you had a question for the class.
No, I'm asking for you.
I think skibbity toilet. So skibbity toilet is bad. Skibbity I think is okay. It's just the context. You kind of like just I look at it this way. Producer Bryce, do you mind looking up skibbity toilet?
Do you know what that is,
Urban
though,
Dictionary?
Bryce? You don't know what that is.
So it is a very young. It's a young thing to say. It's not something I will be saying.
Did people did they hit the gritty while they do the skibbity?
No,
Oh.
no. Hit the guan.
Hit the guan.
No, they don't. I don't think Little League Whittling. Wait, Little
I'm
League
whittling right now.
Yeah, that's what they used to be. Also, bring back old catchphrases. I looked in my I was looking for an old photo for someone's baby shower, and I found the meme of "Don't talk to me or my son ever again," and that's one of me and
That'll
Jesse's.
always hit for me.
Oh my god, it was so good. Also, You have now been promoted to one of my elite employees. I said that yesterday after I got released from the pen. I was like, it's giving, like, and I talk to myself all the time. I was like, I have now been promoted to be one of her elite employees.
Oh my gosh. No,
Anyway,
what did you find, B?
Skibbity toilet, because it's a term popularized by a YouTube series of short videos about people who live in toilets and have long necks and scary faces, which has become a viral slang term, sometimes used to mean bad or cool, depending on context.
yes.
You want to see the picture?
I think I sent you a picture of a skibbity toilet.
Yeah.
Like I was the skibbity toilet. It was a
I've only seen
filter. Yep. See, I've sent you that picture of me.
And why
I was
do
the skibbity toilet.
You were a skibbity
I-
toilet.
I
and
didn't
you,
know it then, though.
and you had like a skull cap on in your
Yeah.
skibbity. She still uses
Yeah.
that as an emoji, by the way.
I'll put it on the dump this week.
She'll stick his little skibbity just to see if I'm
skibbity
paying
toilet.
attention. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I just send her a skibbity
I
toilet.
don't like that. That's freaky. Very freaky.
Very, very fleeky.
Is there anything else we need to
I will say that
skibbity?
Chaperone is getting, well, kind of roasted. I think some people are mad at her for saying that mothers are miserable. She goes, all my friends who are mothers, and I listen to the podcast. I listen to the whole thing. So I didn't get just like the clip on TikTok of people
context.
saying mothers are miserable. She goes, I don't know if I want to be a parent. She's like, I don't know. She's like, it would have to be with the right person. She goes, because all my friends who are moms are miserable right now. And they go, but they love their kids, but they're miserable. And that's the thing that people are cutting out, that she said, but they love their kids. Anyway, I just think that's crazy that like moms are mad at her for that.
I think Chapel Roan is 27 years old. I just
She
had to look
doesn't
it up.
know.
I think that any mom who would say that they are not at times so depleted,
And she said all of her mom friends, their kids are babies. So
you would be lying to yourself if you thought there were every single time it was sunshines and roses as being a parent. It's not. And so she's 27 years old. She does not have a child herself. She can have an opinion.
Also-
and guess what? She might change her opinion if she
Yeah.
ever decides to have a child one day. That's totally fine.
also her opinion was, she was being asked if she wanted to have kids. And she goes, I don't know. And then she said, on one hand, this, and on another hand, my friends with kids, blank.
Also, I view it this way too. I imagine that her friends are calling her when they are covered in spit up, when they haven't slept in 3 days, when they're on their 12th cup of coffee and they want to pull their hair out. They're going to call up their friend and they're going to say, I am miserable. I hate this. They want to vent. That's what I imagine her seeing that side of it. And at that like look, I'm like, yeah, it can suck sometimes.
It's interesting, the standard, because John Cena said the same thing about being a dad. Like, he didn't want to be a dad, and he's an older guy.
Yeah.
And he didn't get the same treatment
Flack.
she's been getting.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It's very interesting. It's very interesting.
I think that moms sometimes, I think specifically the mom community online, my opinion is they don't like to be told how they feel. They don't like to be told how it is. They don't like for people that don't have
put in a box.
They don't like for people that don't have children to tell them how it is. And my response to that is anyone can have an opinion, and you're probably forgetting what it's like to have an infant. Like, that's why we have more than one, is because our bodies go into this, we get minds out, we get severed. Our bodies go into this weird severance mode when they turn around 2 or 3 and they're extra cute and your body forgets what it was
18
like.
months, right? Is the like standard of people getting baby.
And then you get severed and then your body forgets what it was like to have an infant. And then that's why you have another one.
Well, it's crazy. All the time I like say like, I want a baby. And then I'm always like, ooh, hit a second. And I do want kids one day. I would like a few. But I also sometimes nanny, and sometimes there are days that I go, I get to go home after this. I get to go home. You know what I wouldn't be able to do if I had a kid? Go home. They are the home.
They live there.
Home.
Apparently they live there.
Apparently.
And apparently you invited them.
Like, you literally cooked them.
You cooked them and then let them come home with you.
And then you kept them there. And you gave them the toys that they're throwing.
Oh my gosh. And I'd
It's
do
a
it
wild
again.
ride.
I'd do it again.
Yeah. So
I'd do it again.
anyway, justice for her. She's okay. Let her go.
Yeah, for real. Like, let her, like, just.
Also, she was just answering a question.
She really was. That's my opinion. Congratulations. You are now one of my elite employees. I think that's it. Rate, review,
Yeah.
subscribe. Please go to YouTube and subscribe. Please.
You would be an elite employee.
You would be
if
an
you did.
elite employee if you would subscribe. To
Also,
our channel.
pick a friend today. Pick one friend.
And do what?
Send this episode one and tell them that you're rooting for them.
Oh,
But also,
like
I
that.
want you to like celebrate your friends. Seriously, it's
that.
not that hard. Like it takes 2 seconds. I will say this: when people say to me, "You are everybody's biggest hype woman," and it's free, and it's free, and it's fun for me. Have some fun. Go cheer on somebody.
I'm going to pick you, and I have one question as we depart.
Yeah.
Have you finished Severance?
Yes.
Okay, that's it. That's all I wanted to know. Bryce?
Nope.
Oh my!
So I'm not going to tell you who I'm
Started-
punching, but you guys at home know who I'm.
Started the studio yesterday though.
You started it.
The studio.
What's the
Wait,
studio?
Oh, the show, The Studio. I thought you meant an episode of Severance called The Studio.
No.
Is that
Sorry.
Seth Rogen in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to watch that? What is that on?
Apple.
Apple. Okay, I'm
Is
going to
it
start
good?
watching that.
So
That'll
good.
be our next show.
Is it funny or is it?
It's hilarious.
Okay, can't wait.
I've been needing. Wait, I'm so sorry. I
that's
do have
pretty
one final thought. I'm sorry. I wanted to tell you this. Haley's head is so small. I just put my hand on the back of her head for the first time since I've known her.
You've put your hand.
Your head is tiny.
We've said this before. I do have a small head.
It makes me
Kinda
feel
weird.
Yeah, I'm gonna let go of it. I finally watched Wicked. That's it.
Isn't it beautiful? Like the production. They did a great job. Did you love Dancing Through Life?
Yeah, of course. I liked Cynthia Erivo way more than I thought. I like
The
not.
press tour ruined it a little bit.
I just
for
didn't
us.
know. I've never seen Wicked. I've never seen, or I never knew the
Wait,
story.
you haven't gone to the.
Never.
Okay, when it comes into town, you, me, and Scooby.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to go now for sure. I didn't like SpongeBob in it. He really just got me every time I saw him. I'm like, you're not meant for this role, Bach.
SpongeBob.
Also, low key
Bach,
Bowen. Bach, the guy who Ethan Slater.
Ethan Slater.
Yeah, it sounds like a '90s kids. Like Ethan Slater was on 90210 to me.
AC
You know what I mean?
Slater.
Oh, that's why I'm saying that, and that's Mario Lopez, who was on Saved by the Bell.
What was his name? What was AC's name?
Aaron Carter.
Oh,
I'm kidding. I have no idea.
okay.
I have no idea. Idea. Also, Bowen Yang took me out. I
liked him,
love
though.
Bowen Yang,
I liked
but it was just like, oh, that's Bowen Yang.
his glasses took me.
Like I was like, that's Bowen Yang. Like every time he spoke, it was just Bowen Yang being Bowen Yang, which is not a problem. It's kind of like I think Jennifer Aniston. It's always Jennifer Aniston and everything she does.
oh, I understand what you're saying. They play themselves in every role.
Yeah, which is not a problem because it works apparently.
I would give my left. I was gonna say tit, but I won't say
I was
that.
going to say teeth.
I give my left leg to have a career where I could just play. Hello,
Be me.
my
Well,
only,
that's what you are going to do.
Thank you.
That's what you are doing.
Thank you.
We are doing.
I will say, my only thought was that I didn't anticipate being as mad at Jeff Goldblum as I was going to be at the end of that movie. Because I've never seen Wicked, period. Not the play, not anything, and I didn't know the story, and I was just left pissed off. And
And he didn't need to sing. Sorry.
he more like talks and
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. He didn't need to do that.
Right.
They could have cut that song. That song isn't in the original musical. I don't believe.
Oh.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
That was like an original for that. But yeah, I'm glad you watched it.
Thank you.
When they went to Oz, were you just not blown away by the costumes? And I just can't believe it. Like
No, I kind of felt like I was in like that Oz song kind of made me feel like it was worship music, a little bit.
No, I mean like the beautiful costume. I just meant like all the like.
Thank you for
when
asking.
they go to Oz and you like see all the things.
Yeah, no, thank you for asking. Actually, I do have a gripe about that. The men in the
bubbles?
weird beach ball outfits. Don't ever talk
The
to me again.
latex?
Don't ever talk to me or my son
I thought they were hilarious.
ever again. Get out of the water fountain. Stop
That's illegal.
it. Stop it right now. I did not like that. It truly looks like that skibbity toilet shit is what it looked like. And I don't like it.
That's hilarious. Anyway,
Rate, review, subscribe.
yep.
Please share with a friend like Miss Haley asked.
And cheer on your friends.
Yeah, please. We're rooting for you. We really are. Every day,
We are.
all day, we're rooting for you.
Also, tag me in something you want me to root for you on, or send it to me.
send it to Zoom.
Send it to Zoom.
And with that, we will see you next Thursday.
Janine, also a girl we're rooting for. Take us home, sis. Ah.